Okay guys, so in this video we're going to talk an update about GNUS brands. So a lot has happened since I last made an update video. So before I get into this video guys, please give it a thumbs up if you enjoy my content. So let's get right into it. So to give you guys a quick background on what happened with GNUS brands, they announced that they were launching a new cartoon channel for kids, and they were working in partnership with big names like Warren Buffett, Arnold Schwarzenegger, and many other celebrities. I believe Shaq and even Nick Cannon are involved as well. So the Arnold Schwarzenegger cartoon to launch in 2021, and they launched the cartoon channel back in June 15th. So what happened was is there was a lot of attention on this stock, and it shot all the way up to even almost $12. And then there's been quite a bit of share dilution, and we've seen the stock come down all the way to these levels. So if we just take a look at the year to date chart, we can see that the stock is still up 351% this year. But a lot of people bought the stock, when it was probably running up. And let's say maybe if you bought it at around $6 or $5, you're down a bit, and there is some more share dilution. So you're kind of wondering what's next. So in this video, I'm going to give you guys some insight and let you guys know why I have not sold a single share of my GNUS brand stock, even though the stock has been falling. Yes, I've been holding true and just adding to my position, a few shares here, a few shares there, as the stock continues to go down. And I normally don't do this with companies, but I believe so much in the GNUS brand stock. This is kind of, for me, this is a once in a generation type of investment opportunity, in my opinion. And I'm going to give you guys a couple of reasons why. But first, I want to go over some of the recent news that has been released. So probably the most important news that's been released lately. Okay, so this was a huge release. So of course the Genius Brands app cartoon channel had launched on the Android Play Store back in June, and they finally came out with the iOS app, and it says breaking single day company download records in the first 24 hours and ranking top 10 in free iOS apps for kids. So as you can see here, here's a look at the cartoon channel app on the Apple platform. So that's really important. As you can see here, the CEO talks more about how thrilled they are to have a viewing audience discovered the cartoon channel so quickly. And it says multitude of parents downloading the app for kids has skyrocketed the first 24 hours, the app reaching top 10 for kids and climbing while receiving thousands of five-star ratings. So as you can see here, it just talks a little bit more about the content they're providing and things like that, and how all of the most of the people that are working at the top of this company, the C-level executives and things like that, they are basically have a lot of experience creating content for kids, and kids content has been crushing it lately. So of course I mentioned time and time again that the top YouTuber actually on the YouTube platform is a kid, and he is about his name is Ryan Kuya, and I think he's around 9 or 10 years old. So there's definitely a lot of money to be made with advertising in kids content, and one of the biggest catalysts is they plan to launch the Arnold Schwarzenegger cartoon superhero kindergarten in Q1 2021. So that was some good news as well. So now what I want to do is I want to address the share dilution a little bit more. Okay, so this was filed as a proxy on July 24th, and it talks about how they're planning to amend the Articles of Incorporation, increase the authorized number of shares from 223 million to 400 million. So obviously, this is not a great sign. As shareholders, we don't want to see this, but according to the company, they are doing this to acquire new assets. So it says here, normally people associate the issuance of shares of dilution. However, when dilution is accredited, if the benefit to the company is exceeded by the acquisition of the asset and greater than the dilutive effect. That is the primary purpose for having these new shares. I speak not only as your chairman and CEO, but as one of the largest shareholders in the company. My interests are fully aligned with those of our shareholders of common stock. We only have one common. We have only one class of voting stock. It is common stock, and mine is the exact same as all other shareholders. So, as you can see here, they mentioned that companies have done this in the past. So if we take a look at Walt Disney, they issued new stock to acquire Pixar, Star Wars, and Marvel Entertainment. So what the CEO is doing here is he's just issuing new shares so they can buy acquire other assets. As you can see here, I mentioned in my previous video that the company was debt free and they hold over like $50 million worth of cash. And we're going to get some more insight into the company when they report their Q2 earnings. So I want to mention when I think that's going to happen, Q2 earnings. Okay, so here I am. I'm on Market Beat, and according to this, we have Q2 earnings that should be coming up in around, it looks like August 17th. So that's going to be a really, really important date. Now, we probably won't see too much revenue because the cartoon channel launched in June. So it's really going to be that Q3 2020 report, which should probably be released, I would say, in November. That will get a lot of insight into how much money the company actually made from the launch date. So November is, it's quite a way from now. It's well into the winter, and we don't really know where the stock is going now. But as of just looking recently at what happened with, so basically seeing what happened with Kodak recently, how the stock had been basically forgotten about for years, and then all of a sudden skyrocketed so fast on one good news report, we can see Genius Brands, perhaps really do well on some really, really good news once that news comes. So this is not normally like most of the stocks, some of the stocks that I've been recommending lately, like where I talked about Solo and Workhorse. If you guys bought those stocks, you did really, really well. Those stocks were basically following the trend of Tesla. Since Tesla was moving up, I was talking about other stocks in the sector. And then I mentioned some other stocks. If you guys been following my videos for some time, I mentioned to buy Netflix when it was under 300. I mentioned Tesla I bought Tesla when it was 500. I also talked about PayPal as well, and I even mentioned Shopify when it was around $350. So if you guys would basically have been following some of my videos in the past, you're pretty familiar with what my investment philosophy is. I'm not really looking at stocks that I think are going to move overnight. I'm looking at stocks that have a catalyst in the future, and that when they hit that catalyst, they're going to make some moves. So the reason why I recommended eBay in my previous video was simply because I thought eBay was going to continue to follow the same course as Amazon and Shopify because e-commerce is doing well. And that's the same thing with Genius Brands. I think as long as the top YouTuber is making a ton of money with kids content, and we're seeing kids content make a lot of money, whether it's on Netflix, the whole Coco Melon channel recently was on Netflix, and Coco Melon has been crushing it on YouTube as well. I think that this stock, Genius Brands, is going to follow the same catalyst. So for this stock, just like what happened with Aurora Cannabis, everyone was hating on Aurora Cannabis, and if you guys have followed that, I mentioned that I had bought Aurora Cannabis when it was about $5 post split, and then it skyrocketed up to $20. So I know it looks really bad right now. Things are, if you guys bought it near the top, you're doing really bad, but the stock is still up over 350%, and there's catalysts here. So for me personally, we've got two main catalysts. The main catalyst is, as I mentioned earlier, I want to see that Q3 earnings release, because we're not going to have any. As of now, the company is not making a lot of revenue. They're making like $300,000 a quarter. So we really want to see that Q3 release. Once the channel is launched, how much money is the company generating? Then that's going to be a huge boost for the stock. And then, of course, probably the biggest long-term catalyst of all would be the launch of the superhero kindergarten cartoon, because that's what a lot of people are anticipating. And Arnold Schwarzenegger, he has a massive following. He's an iconic figure, and I expect that cartoon to catch on like hot fire, but that's not coming until next year. So for me, one of the things I've noticed this year when it comes to stocks and just stocks in general is that patience is really rewarded. So I've seen a lot of stocks pop. Kodak, I even saw Kodak. I'd like to do research for stocks when I'm making videos and things like that. And I saw Kodak, trading at around $1 or $2, and I thought to myself, what's wrong with it? Is the stock finished? And then all it took was one positive news release, and the stock skyrocketed. So, you can make a lot of money in the stock market by buying what's not popular, but buying what people are basically betting against. And for me, I've just been averaging down my position shares. Okay, guys, so really, I know a lot of people are frustrated with Genius Brands, but the problem is that we don't have any revenue on the books. So right now, what people are doing is they're seeing all the stocks not going up and they're dumping it. So we have two basic run-ups. We have the greed run-up, which is people saw the stock price going up and then they just jumped on board, and then we have the fear rundown. So, stock markets are driven really by two main emotions, greed and fear. So people get greedy, they think the stock's going to go higher, and then when the stock starts to go down, they get scared. So right now we're near the fearful phase. People are reading about the share dilution and they're scared, but this is actually right near long-term support. So as you can see here, you could draw basically, if we were to draw a trend line right here, you could see that the buyers are coming in at around $1.55. But for me, I'm not really worried about the stock price in the short run. So right now, I'm not really worried about the stock price because I realize that the company has not had enough time to generate revenue. It really takes time, guys, for companies to generate revenue and produce earnings. But right now, I want to see execution. I want to see more people downloading the apps. I want to see more cartoons produced. I want to see kind of a similar trajectory as Netflix. Netflix had a lot of haters when they were first coming out, but they kept producing, and when they kept producing, that turned into a lot of long-term success. So what we're looking for Genius Brands right now is basically production to launch the cartoons that they promised to launch and to get as many people and as many kids watching their apps as possible. So right now I'm focused on acquiring as many shares as possible before that Q3 2020 release, and especially before Q1 2020. I think that shareholders are going to be rewarded for long-term patience here. It could be a year's wait, just like with Kodak. We don't really know, but I haven't sold any of my shares. I'm still holding them. I'm buying shares every week, just a few here, a few there. Not trying to get emotional and follow the crowd, but to understand that kids content. There's going to be a lot of money to be made in kids content, and this company is not just a cartoon company. They also have deals with companies like Alibaba and Walmart to sell toys and retail and things like that. So it's a much bigger company than we're looking at. And the fact that they're increasing the shares to 400 million isn't a bad idea if they plan to use those funds to pick up some more assets and kind of increase the total shareholder equity. So that's my take on it, guys. It's really been rough. I know because usually I really like to buy stocks that I think are going to go straight up and not deal with issues like this. But for me, this is a really long-term hold. I'm willing to be patient on this one. I really like this company, and I've seen the power of kids content firsthand as being a YouTuber and just seeing how that Ryan Kuya guy is absolutely crushing it. I mean, the highest earning YouTuber is like 10 years old, so that should be proof in the pudding that there's a lot of money to be made here in this content. But I can understand if you're looking for a stock that's going to go up like in the next day or the next week, you definitely want to look somewhere else. But if you're willing to be a little patient on this one, kind of average down your position, I think you'll do well in the long run. So that's my take. I haven't sold any shares yet. Guys knowing some more update videos for Genius Brands, but let's go. I could be wrong, but I'm willing to wait it out and be a little bit more patient. If things don't kind of correct by the launch of the super Hero Kindergarten cartoon next year, then I might just end up cutting my losses. But until then, I'm just going to be patient and continue to buy more and focus on getting as many shares as possible, not on the short-term stock price. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video to kind of iron out and answer some questions that's been going on about Genius Brands. And be sure to smash that red subscribe button if you enjoy my content. So that's it until next time, guys. Take care.